Fran, how you doing?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Well, you've been here before, haven't you?
Yes.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So
Okay,
we're just
thank you
asking
very
what
much.
the NGL is, my man.
Okay. I must say first that a lot of Muslims that have been talking on this topic have not been doing good work at all.
Mm,
They have not been able to connect the dot.
mm.
And I think they have succeeded in making
Oh,
Islam is wrong. So let me just quickly go straight to the point.
all right.
I want to first of all let you understand that, yes, Allah says in the Quran, He revealed the gospel to Jesus.
Mm,
That's number one.
mm-hmm.
Revelation to Jesus is gospel. Number two is this. During the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there exists a religious text that the Christian use, meaning the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they were in existence during the time of Prophet Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
And the Christian regarded those four books as gospel. That
Mm-hmm.
is second thing. Now, when you look at these four books, you will clearly see that they are actually talking about the history of Jesus, the story of Jesus. There was one of your program I watched one day. You brought out the book of Ibn Ishaq that wrote about the history of Prophet Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
If you read the book very well, it is about the story of Muhammad, and it depicts historical events of Muhammad, something like his birth, his activities, and all those stuff, his prophethood. And inside it, you are going to see a lot of verses of the Quran. It is similar to what you can find in the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is talking about the life story of Jesus. And there is no way you will write about the story of Jesus without writing the gospel that he brought. Now, to clarify something, let's look at what Luke said when Jesus was about to start his ministry. In the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18, Jesus said, he was in the synagogue and he said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me." Anointed means he has commissioned him as Messiah. So, what is the job of the Messiah? He said, to preach the gospel. That is number one. Preach the gospel. Second is to heal the broken-hearted, to proclaim liberty to the captive and recovering of broken-hearted, and and recovery of sight to the blind and those who are oppressed. You will see that Jesus actually declared his mission. The first one is preach the gospel. So Jesus preached the gospel, and at the same time, there were some historical events that came out from him. So when you talk about healing, the birth of Jesus, healing, and all those stuff, they are actually not gospel. They are historical events, and they are different from gospel. If you want to understand this thing very well, if you go to Luke, let me just continue again in the book of Luke.
Dabayo, can I
Listen,
ask
just
you?
let me conclude. Let me conclude, please. I'll conclude now. So if you want to ask a question or
Yeah,
pick
hopefully,
me
because
up,
you've been talking for a bit. It's a little easier to have a discussion
just
instead of
one
long
more,
dialogues,
just
right?
one. Hey, just let me make this point. After this point, I will allow you to talk. Please, just let me make this
One
point.
point. Go ahead.
So when Jesus started his ministry, for example, John the Baptist sent his messengers to go and meet him to find out whether he was actually the Messiah being expected. And they approached Jesus and asked him, "John has sent us. Can you please tell us what should we tell John when we return back to him?" Jesus said, in Luke chapter 7, verse 22. He said, "Go and tell John the things you have seen and you have heard. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers cleanse, the deaf hear, the dead raise, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." You can
Sure.
see that anything that has to do with life story, the event of Jesus is not
Sweet.
gospel.
So,
Gospel
Shakir,
is what Jesus preached. Okay.
Shakir, excellent. Now, well, let's get back to the actual question that we asked you at the very start. So you're telling us what the Injil is not. Now, can you tell us, was the Injil ever written down, the Injil that Allah revealed to Isa?
Yes, it was written down. From what I said, it was written down. And the people that wrote it is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
So how do we know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote the Injil?
Good. And that's a very good question. If you want to talk about historical event of the life of Jesus, where we can get it right now is in the book of Matthew, Luke, and John that the Christians agree with, and they took it as their religious text.
I
But
agree
what
with
we
you.
are saying is this, look at it. What we are saying is this, when the Muslim says that this book has been corrupted, let me tell you the reason why they say it has been corrupted. When you mix gospel that Jesus preached and you add it with his historical, the life event of the life of Jesus, and you portray everything as gospel, you have corrupted it. Because God says, for example, in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2, God says,
Shakir,
listen, let me just conclude. I will allow you, you question me. I'm going to, I will tell you. So God said, do not add to what I command you, and do not subtract from it. So what God revealed to Jesus, Jesus said in John chapter 5, verse 30, he said, I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge. What
excellent.
Jesus had is the revelation. That's the gospel sent to him. He
Shakir.
judged by preaching it.
Awesome.
So when you had the story,
Shakir, you got to have a discussion, brother. Let's have a discussion. Let's build the conversation, brother. Okay. Excellent. So the teachings of Jesus inside the gospel is the true Injil, is it not, Shakir?
correct.
Amen, brother. So when Jesus teaches that he entered his own creation, that he died by crucifixion, that he raised on the third day, those teachings, that's a part of the Injil, isn't it, brother?
Good. Now we have historical document of Jesus,
Whoa.
No, I'm answering the question. Listen,
Oh.
I'm answering the question.
Oh,
Where
okay.
can you find the gospel of Jesus? Where
In
you
the
can
gospel.
find it is in the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That is
That's what
where
I
you can
said.
find the gospel. I am emphasizing it. That does not make Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John the gospel. Because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they are combination of the gospel and historical event, the history of the life of Jesus.
But you said
Anything that
Jesus'
makes you
teachings,
regard
right?
them as gospel is corruption.
But you said Jesus' teachings inside the gospel is the
Correct.
Injil, correct?
Correct.
Amen. So when Jesus taught that he died by crucifixion and raised on the third day, that's the Injil, right?
Now, the issue of crucifixion,
whoa, Shakir,
listen,
yes
it
or
is
no?
not gospel.
I want a yes
Crucifixion
or
is
no,
an
and then
historical event. It's
No,
not
no, no.
gospel.
Shakir. So
Jesus
look.
did not
This
preach
is where I got.
that.
This is where I got to jump in, brother. This is where I got to jump in because
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. You're saying that there's the teachings of Jesus, which is gospel, and then there's the historical events surrounding Jesus. That's not particularly gospel. That's just extra details, right? Understand. So what Chris is talking about is the part where Jesus himself teaches about his own crucifixion. That part where he teaches that he's going to be crucified and rising on the third day, that's gospel, since that's what Jesus himself is teaching, right?
No, good. I like that question. To make it easy, you guys, you have a Bible, you call it Red Bible.
Red letters?
It's red letters. So, and the red letters is to indicate all those things that Jesus said.
Yes.
So it is like when we take the red letters Bible and you ask me, do you agree that all these things that Jesus said in the red Bible is what Jesus said? From those indications, the answer is yes.
Okay.
But the problem is this. There are
Awesome.
certain things, inside that red letter Bible that you cannot ascribe it to Jesus.
That are not
Can
red
I?
letters, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Can I
yeah.
give you an
So,
example?
oh, no, because that's not
No.
necessary. We understand what you're saying. So
Okay.
basically, what Chris is asking about is the red letters alone. So
Okay.
you have the red letters where
Okay.
Jesus himself in the red letters is teaching that he's to be crucified, to give his life as a ransom for many, and that he's going to rise again on the third day. Those are in red letters. Those aren't
Yes.
Matthew, Mark's, or John's.
Yes.
Those are
Yes.
Jesus'
Yes.
words. Okay.
Yes.
So those red letters that Jesus is teaching about his own crucifixion,
Yes.
Chris is just asking you to affirm. So you affirm that that's gospel, right?
Do you know why I will not agree that it is gospel? That
Why?
is what I'm telling you, if you understand me. It is not all those teachings that are ascribed to Jesus as being said in this statement that are actually made by Jesus. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so there's certain things that you say in the red letters are Jesus' words that you actually trust are Jesus' words, and then other things that you don't trust that are Jesus' words.
Yes.
Okay, so now that's where we're getting confused now, because you said that we find the gospel in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John's writings.
Yes.
We find the what Jesus himself was teaching. That's the gospel.
Yes.
But then you're saying, even though Jesus himself in these writings is teaching about his crucifixion, you don't trust that he actually said that.
Yes, I don't believe it. Do you know why I don't believe it?
Is it because of the Quran goes against it?
No. Not even because the Quran says.
Why?
I won't go there right now because if I can tell you that all those things that Jesus said is the gospel, but I am still saying it that there are some things that are ascribed to Jesus that evidently and objectively we can prove that it wasn't Jesus that said it.
Okay, so
and part of those things are what you just mentioned.
Okay, so all right, so let's go to an example. Okay,
good.
Let's go
let
to
us look at, for example, in the book of Matthew, chapter 23.
I want to bring up something specific. Okay.
Yeah, Shakir, just wait. We'll bring up the actual teaching from Jesus in the red letters, and then we'll ask you to prove that if it is corrupted or if it is the real words of Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So let me just go ahead and pull this up here. All right. What's a translation that actually uses the red letters? Because I've seen it on Bible Gateway before. Actually, no,
ESV does, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it depends on what program you're using.
No, you can just bring up anything that Jesus said. You don't need to go. Just bring
sure?
any of the statement.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I have said it, and I've told you that if you want me to pull out one, I can pull out to you and challenge you whether it was Jesus that said so, because it was ascribed that Jesus said it. And
Okay,
I don't
good.
believe Jesus said it.
Sounds good. All right, so here we are. This is Luke chapter 24. We're going to read verses 44 to 46, okay? It says, then he said to them, so then now these are Jesus' words. These are the words which I spoke to you while I was still with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms concerning me. And he opened up their minds that they may understand the scriptures. Then he said to them, thus it is written, and thus it was necessary for the Christ to suffer and to rise from the dead on the third day. So these are Jesus's words. Now you're saying that these would not truly be Jesus's words?
No, it is not Jesus' word.
All right. So how do you know? How do you tell it?
Fine, thank you. To give you the premises, please let me put a word to you. I want to just ask you something, just like you have asked me, because if I go into this, it will push us to another thing, and I don't want to deviate from the real topic.
As long as you're direct, Shakir.
Yes. If you go to Matthew 23:35, who is speaking there? Whose word is that? Can you read it?
What does that have to do with what I just asked about this?
No. I am telling you that if I take this thing, because it will take us to another thing entirely. But if you can answer this one, if you can answer what I am giving to you now, Fine, it will clear this one.
I'm confused. I'm lost on that. I don't know how he asked.
Okay. Maybe you
specifically
don't
about this.
understand the basis of my argument. What I'm
Yeah,
saying is this.
I don't.
What I'm saying is this. There are certain things that are ascribed to Jesus in
Yeah.
those
How do
writings.
we know that Jesus didn't say this?
Okay, I am going to tell you why we know. But for you to understand first, can you just read the one I asked you to read and tell me whether it was Jesus that said it?
Okay, so I'm gonna bite. So if it has nothing to do with my question here, then I'm
It
just
has
gonna
to
have to
do. Read it first.
bring you
It has
back.
to do. It has to do.
Okay,
Read it
all right,
first.
no worries. All right, so
What verse?
pull
What
that up.
verse are we reading?
Matthew 23, verse 35.
Yeah, that's Jesus speaking. Let's put 34 to 35.
30.
I like Therefore, indeed, I send you prophets, wise men, and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city, that on you may come all the righteous blood on the earth, from the blood of the righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you've murdered between the temple and the altar.
Who is talking there?
That's Jesus speaking.
And what does it have to do with Matthew 25? Or what does it have to do with the verse that Logic just brought up? Because the question was the verse that we brought up before. If you said that it is not the words of Jesus. So we're waiting for you to prove it. You went to this verse to try to prove it, but it didn't prove it. So now we're back to this verse. Can you prove that this verse Jesus did not say?
Fine. That is if you are patient enough to listen to me. You know, we are having dialogue and we need to be objective. Now, now every has told us that it was Jesus that said this.
So you're not even going to deal with Luke.
Listen.
No,
If
he's
I
going to try to say that somebody else other than Jesus.
Listen.
He's going to use that as an argument for somebody other than Jesus being crucified.
Can you listen to
Therefore,
me, please?
it couldn't have been Jesus being crucified. That's why this is false. Go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong.
Listen to me again, please. Sorry, can you repeat what you said?
Shakir, look, man. Because
can you just listen?
I feel like my time is being wasted.
No. I am not wasting your time. But if you want me to tell you this, I will just straight away tell you that this prophecy. Can you read this verse? Is it verse 44, 45?
This is 46, where Jesus says, "Thus it is written, it was necessary for the Christ to suffer and rise from the dead on the third day."
Can you please?
When you say Jesus didn't say this,
give me the reference where he is quoting this from?
This is Luke chapter 24.
No. He said it is written. It is written. Show me where it is written.
I can show you all of that, but first, before I substantiate the claim that Jesus is making, how do you know when you're saying that he didn't say this? How do you know he didn't say this? What's your
now? The reason why I know he didn't say it is because the one I asked you to read, Jesus didn't say it, because the Zechariah that was killed was not Zechariah, son of Berechiah. The person who wrote this is mixing two Zechariah, and
that's
Jesus
a lie.
That's
another lie. And
you're lying.
That's another lie.
I'm lying. Go to the Second Chronicles chapter 24, verse 20.
Shakir, I know
we want to do the Muslim shuffle. I know we want to do the Muslim shuffle, Shakir.
Hey, Shakir, I have no problem talking over you. I have a louder mic.
Shakir, it's very simple, my friend. It's either you answer this question or else I'm just going to have to move on because you're wasting my time. How do you know that Jesus didn't say these words in the verse that I brought to you? Stop running, please. Now you can speak.
I ask you, the verse you quoted, show me the reference. He said it is written. Where?
All right.
Whoops, I'm muted. If he's saying that Jesus did not say these words, he has to prove that Jesus did not say these words in that verse. Like, Shakir, man, you're not even that smart. I honestly thought he was going to use the John Fontaine argument when he started out.
Yeah, he was onto something, man. He started off very well. He started off very good. He admitted that the gospel, right? The gospel authors, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that they're the ones who wrote the gospel of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He was very clear about that. He was very clear that the gospel accounts record historical information about Jesus, but also record the teachings of Jesus, which is the gospel message. Very good. Nice.
No, but I'm on my...
refuting every Muslim. I had to just mute you real quick, Chris. So I'm gonna mute you now. So beautiful. But then all of a sudden, when something pops up that he doesn't agree with in the red letters that Jesus teaches, all of a sudden, those words that are attributed to Jesus by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who I just said I do trust, I don't trust that they record Jesus' words accurately here. I don't believe they attributed these words to him. He didn't actually say this. How do you know?